Hey there, fellow adventurers. Today, we're journeying back in time to explore the fascinating world of ancient Slavic food preservation. These resourceful people thrived in challenging environments, from icy winters to scorching summers. They had no fancy refrigerators or freezers, but they did have their wits, their land, and a deep respect for nature. The Slavs were masters of adaptation. They knew how to use what they had to survive. Their food preservation techniques were not just practical, they were ingenious. These methods allowed them to store food for long periods. They could enjoy nature's bounty year-round. These techniques weren't just about survival. They shaped the Slavic culture and cuisine. They fostered a deep connection with the natural world. Join me as we unearth these forgotten methods. We'll learn how the Slavs kept their food fresh and delicious, no fridge needed. Imagine stepping into a cool, dark space dug into the earth. The air is damp, with the earthy scent of root vegetables. You're in a root cellar, a Slavic innovation that predates modern refrigeration. These underground chambers were essential for preserving food through the harsh winters. Root cellars work by using the earth's natural insulation. The ground temperature remains relatively stable year-round. It stays cool in the summer and above freezing in the winter. This naturally cool environment was ideal for storing root vegetables, fruits, and preserves. The Slavs built their root cellars with care. They chose locations with good drainage to prevent flooding. They used materials like wood and stone for construction. Ventilation shafts allowed for air circulation, preventing spoilage. These underground refrigerators were a testament to the Slavic people's resourcefulness. When winter blanketed the land in snow and ice, the Slavs saw an opportunity. They collected blocks of ice from frozen lakes and rivers. They used them to build ice houses. These structures served as giant freezers, preserving perishable foods throughout the warmer months. Ice houses were often partially buried underground for insulation. Their thick walls were made of wood or stone, further protecting the ice from the summer heat. Inside, the Slavs created layers of ice and insulating materials like straw or sawdust. This helped to slow down the melting process. The ice stored in these structures provided a welcome respite from the summer heat. It was used to preserve meat, fish, dairy products, and even to make refreshing drinks. Ice houses were a vital part of life in areas with cold winters. They showcased the Slavic people's ability to harness the power of nature. In addition to root cellars and ice houses, Slavic homes often featured larders and cold pantries. These were designated areas designed to keep food cool using natural ventilation and clever architectural choices. Larders were typically small, dark rooms located on the north side of the house, away from direct sunlight. They had shelves and hooks for storing food. Windows placed strategically created drafts, allowing cool air to circulate. Some larders even had small vents built into the floor or ceiling to further enhance airflow. Cold pantries were similar to larders but often larger. They were sometimes partially underground or built into a hillside for added insulation. These spaces were used for storing perishables like dairy products, eggs, and cooked meats for short periods. Earth's embrace, burying food for preservation. The Slavs understood that the earth itself could be a natural refrigerator. They developed techniques for burying food in the ground to protect it from spoilage. This method, while simple, proved remarkably effective. Certain foods, like root vegetables and cabbage, store well in the ground thanks to their natural hardiness. The Slavs would dig pits or trenches in cool, dry areas. They lined them with straw or leaves for insulation. Then they carefully buried their produce, ensuring it was covered completely. Meat could also be preserved by burying. After salting or smoking, it was wrapped in cloth or packed in barrels. Then it was buried in deep pits. The cool, stable environment underground helped to slow down decomposition, extending its shelf life. Fermentation, the magic of microbes. Long before Louis Pasteur discovered the science behind it, the Slavs were already harnessing the power of fermentation. This ancient technique, using beneficial bacteria and yeast to transform food, was central to their culinary traditions. Fermentation wasn't just about preservation, it also enhanced flavor and nutritional value. Sauerkraut, made from fermented cabbage, was a staple in the Slavic diet. It provided essential vitamins and probiotics during the long winters when fresh produce was scarce. Other fermented favorites included pickled cucumbers, beets and mushrooms. Kvass, a tangy drink made from fermented bread, was a popular thirst quencher. Fermentation added zest and complexity to the Slavic table, transforming simple ingredients into culinary delights. Salt and smoke. Ancient preservatives for meat. Meat, a valuable source of protein, presented a challenge for preservation. The Slavs mastered the art of salting and smoking, techniques that effectively inhibited bacterial growth and extended the shelf life of meat. Salting was a straightforward yet essential process. Coarse salt was rubbed generously onto the meat, drawing out moisture and creating an inhospitable environment for bacteria. The meat was then hung to dry, further reducing moisture content. Smoking added another layer of preservation and flavor. The Slavs built smokehouses, structures designed to smoke meat slowly over smoldering wood. The smoke contained antimicrobial compounds that helped preserve the meat, while also imparting a distinctive smoky aroma and taste. Liquid gold oil's role in food preservation. While not as common as other methods, the Slavs also utilized oil for food preservation. They recognized its ability to create an airtight seal, preventing exposure to air and moisture, which could lead to spoilage. One method involved submerging cooked meats or vegetables in a crock or jar filled with oil. The oil acted as a barrier, preventing contact with air and inhibiting the growth of bacteria. This technique was particularly effective for preserving meats like poultry and fish. Oil was also used to preserve cheeses. Blocks of cheese were wrapped in cheesecloth and submerged in oil, creating a protective layer that prevented mold growth and extended their shelf life. This technique, while simple, showcased the versatility of oil as a natural preservative. Clay pots and cool water, simple yet effective. In the absence of elaborate preservation methods, the Slavs relied on a surprisingly effective technique using simple clay pots and cool water. This method, rooted in the principles of evaporation, helped keep food cool and fresh for short periods. Porous clay pots, when soaked in water, absorb moisture. As the water evaporates from the surface of the pot, it creates a cooling effect. The Slavs would place perishable foods like dairy products, fruits, or cooked dishes inside these damp clay pots. These pots were often stored in cool, shady areas or placed in a breeze to enhance the cooling effect. While not a long-term solution, this ingenious method provided a welcome respite from the heat, preserving food for a short time. Modern applications of ancient techniques. In our fast-paced world, these ancient Slavic methods of food preservation are making a comeback. From high-end restaurants to home kitchens, chefs and food enthusiasts are rediscovering the benefits of these time-honored practices. Imagine walking into a modern kitchen and finding a beautifully constructed root cellar filled with fresh produce that stays crisp and flavorful for months. Or picture a bustling urban restaurant where chefs are using fermentation to craft unique and tantalizing flavors, drawing inspiration from the past to create dishes that are both sustainable and delicious. Even in the realm of technology, ancient techniques are being adapted to fit our contemporary needs. Smart home devices now monitor temperature and humidity to replicate the conditions of traditional preservation methods, ensuring that food stays fresh without excessive energy consumption. The resurgence of these practices is not just a trend, it's a testament to the enduring wisdom of our ancestors. By blending the old with the new, we can create a more sustainable future, one where food preservation is aligned with nature and innovation goes hand in hand with tradition. So, as we look to the future, let's remember the lessons of the past. By embracing and adapting these ancient techniques, we can preserve not only our food, but also the health of our planet. While ancient techniques offer valuable insights, understanding the science behind food preservation can deepen our appreciation and enhance our application of these methods. At its core, food preservation is about controlling the environment to slow down or halt the activity of microorganisms and enzymes that cause spoilage. For instance, refrigeration and freezing lower temperatures to levels where microbial activity is significantly reduced. This is why your refrigerator keeps milk fresh for weeks and your freezer preserves meat for months. Dehydration, another ancient technique, works by removing moisture that bacteria, molds and yeasts need to grow. This is why dried fruits and jerky can last for extended periods. Fermentation, a process harnessed by many ancient cultures, encourages the growth of beneficial bacteria that outcompete harmful microorganisms. This not only preserves the food, but can also enhance its nutritional value and flavor. Salting and sugaring create environments where osmosis draws moisture out of microbial cells, effectively dehydrating and killing them. This is why salt-cured fish and sugar-preserved jams have such long shelf lives. Modern science has allowed us to refine these techniques and understand their underlying principles, making it possible to optimize conditions for food preservation with greater precision. By combining ancient wisdom with modern scientific knowledge, we can continue to innovate in ways that are both effective and sustainable. So, the next time you enjoy a piece of dried fruit or a sip of fermented tea, remember the science that makes it possible. Lessons from the past, sustainability for the future. As we've journeyed through the world of ancient Slavic food preservation, one thing is clear. These techniques were not only ingenious but also incredibly sustainable. They relied on natural resources, minimized waste, and worked in harmony with the environment. Today, in a world grappling with the environmental impact of modern food production and preservation, these ancient practices offer valuable lessons. They remind us that we can preserve food without relying heavily on energy-intensive technologies. By rediscovering and adapting these time-tested methods, we can reduce our ecological footprint and reconnect with the wisdom of our ancestors. Whether it's embracing fermentation, building a root cellar, or simply reducing food waste, we can all learn from the Slavic people's deep respect for nature and their resourcefulness in preserving its bounty.